We're heading out for some fall muskies. My name's Liam Wetter. I'm going to show you how I do it. What you have to keep in mind is that in the fall time, these muskies are starting to chase ciscoes, especially up here on Lake of the Woods, but really anywhere that there's muskies and pelagic fall spawning baitfish. Once the thermocline breaks down, the water temperature the surface temperature starts to drop, the thermocline breaks down, these fall spawning pelagic baitfish species start to move up shallow onto rock structure, onto, you know, the points, the shoals, the reefs, the humps that come up relatively shallow but are rocky, bouldery bottoms, and that's where they like to spawn. So these pelagic baitfish are moving up shallow and these muskies are intercepting them. So what's happening is that these pelagic baitfish spent all summer out over deep water and they start to move in shallow and these muskies are keying in on those. So this time of the year, it is so critical to imitate ciscoes and to fish those hard rock structures, and that's where you're going to find a ton of muskies and a bunch of big pike too. The other cool thing is that once the water temperature reaches 60, the summer home ranges of these fish start to break down. So the fish that are out deep are starting to move up shallow chasing the ciscoes. The fish that were hanging around a small little piece of structure, a small habitat, their small summer home range, are going to start moving again. And they're going to be on the move until, I just got whacked. And they're going to be on the move until, got distracted a little bit there, felt like a little pike. But yeah, they're going to be on the move until they start to set up in their winter home ranges. So the key to that is to be on the move. Move lots, fish fast, fish a lot of those bouldery structure where the pelagic, the ciscoes like to spawn on. Move fast, and moral of the story is two moving targets are likely to collide. So they're moving, if you keep moving, you'll find fish. All right, when we're talking baits this time of year, we're pretty much imitating 100% ciscoes. So big cisco imitator right there. Another cisco imitation of a swim bait, and a bait that I throw a lot this time of year is it's small, so it discourages some people because it's common knowledge to throw huge baits. But I throw the super shad rap quite a bit. It gets down, it imitates a pelagic bait fish. It's small, so you'll catch a lot more fish on it, really big pike on it too. And yeah, it imitates exactly what these fish are after, gets down, stays down. But if you look, there's a trend, and we're pretty much only imitating ciscoes. You can do other stuff, but they're so keyed in on these pelagic bait fish right now that personally I don't think there's really any point in trying to imitate anything else. The thing about this time of year is we're fishing a lot more deeper water, a lot of deeper structure, and we're bombing long casts. So I like to make as long a cast as possible. That way I can let the line out and my bait falls, and then I have a lot of time to fish it down low. If you're just making short casts, the time that your bait's in the strike zone isn't as long. So we're trying to make long casts, cover that structure, fish that structure hard. And one of the things that I do to capitalize and to cast really far is to use longer rods. So this is a 9.6 extra heavy, throws this big rubber really nice. It's an Omen muskie, 13 fishing Omen muskie. They're great for this type of fishing. The actions are sweet also because they load up really nice. So you can hammer on them and then keep them pinned. And then I'm running a 13 fishing A3 with 80-pound braid. And a lot of the time this time of year, I'm fishing a lot of rubber and crankbaits and stuff. So most of that's done with 130-pound fluorocarbon. So that's the deal, that's the setup. Make long casts, fish the structure, and catch giant fall muskies. The other really neat thing to keep in mind is that a third of the muskie population in these lakes actually live out over deep water, suspended out over deep water, and are targeting those pelagic baitfish species. And so for the first time of the year, the first time ever, of the year, you can actually target these muskies that are following the bait fish up shallow. It's a lot easier to target them, and these bait fish go towards specific areas, so it's a lot easier to pinpoint where they're going to be instead of just being scattered over deep water. So not only are the fish keying in on these ciscoes in specific areas, also a third of the muskie population that normally lives out suspended over deep water is now starting to move in. So this is a great time to catch those giant muskies that are putting on a ton of weight for the winter. They basically go into a state of torpor in the winter, and they don't move much. So what these fish are doing is they're putting on the feed bag, they're eating a ton this time of the year in order to sustain throughout the winter. So they're hungry, they're big, and there's a lot of fish that are on very specific areas. All right, we'll find them where the ciscoes are spawning, where they're moving up shallow. Understanding that these fish are chasing the ciscoes and running all around the lake right now, super important. So stay on the move, imitate ciscoes, fish those deeper rock structures that come up relatively shallow and are adjacent to deep water, and you'll catch a lot more muskies this fall, and you'll catch a lot of big pike too. So that's the one beauty thing about doing this. The big giant pike are mixed in with the big giant muskies. So if you find those areas, you imitate the proper forage, you'll catch a lot more and see a lot more big muskies this fall. So thanks for tuning in.